Good morning and welcome to Woodbury Farm. In the background, you can see my husband working on his team of horses back there. I'm going to turn this around and give you a little tour of my garden. As you can see, the brassicas are doing okay, the onions look good, garlic looks good, peas are doing all right. Everything else is really rather slow. It's 89 degrees at noon today, 101 degree heat index, but otherwise it's been unseasonably cool here in North Dakota. So what I'm working on today is setting up my drip system, and I've got most of it connected. What I'd like to do today is show you how to put together these final parts of this drip system. So let me set this camera up and I'll show you what we're doing. So to start with, there are some different parts to the drip kit that I ordered. I ordered mine from a company called DripWorks. You can get them from several different places. This is your main line hose. This is a solid, just black tubing, and you don't have to order this. You can get it pretty easily. This is drip tape. And the reason that this is pretty special is because right here, right there, is a little slit, and that's where the water just drips out. And then right here is another one. You can get different spacings, 4-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch. This is 8-inch drip tape. Okay. These are the hose fittings. I used to use hose fittings that didn't have this little spigot on top, but I wasn't watering this row closest to the trees here enough, and I got some pretty bad blossom end rot because of it. So I invested in these, and I do recommend them because you can turn on or off any individual row, and that's a good thing. And then these are, this is the end, the hose end, and that's what keeps the water from just running out the other end. I'm going to show you how to install this one first. I usually install these first, and it's really pretty easy. You're just going to take your end, and these are compression fittings, so just spin this all the way back, tuck that in nice and tight, and then hold it and spin it back. I like to make sure that this is flat like that, because it makes it just a little bit easier to pin it down. Okay, and these are compression fittings, so they're kind of backwards from your normal lefty loosey righty tighty type of thing. And this one seems a little crooked, but it should be okay. There is another method of doing these ends, and that is with, I've lost my tape. That is with plain old electrical tape. And what you're going to do is just take and kind of start taping the end flat. Okay, fold it over a little bit, like so, and keep taping the ends 2-3 times. Now, I haven't used this method, but I'm sure it would work because it pinches that hose off. And then just remove your tape, and voila, you have an end where the water can't go out. And this would be a very inexpensive way. These fittings aren't really very expensive. Some of them, it is a little bit larger cost, but they're not terrible. And so here I've got my end, if this was on the other end of this. Okay. And this is the spool of drip tape that I got here. This is a 1,000-foot spool. This is what's left of the 1,000-foot spool after doing my whole garden, plus some raised bed, plus some demo stuff, and I kind of wasted a little bit. And I actually got 2 of these with my medium row crop kit that I got from DripWorks. And so I have a whole nother one of those still that I can use. And we're on year number 3 of this drip tape here, and I think it's going to be good for this year. I just take the same electrical tape, and if I get a hole, a crack or something, and it's, you know, kind of shooting through the air, I'm just going to take my same electrical tape and wind it this way and then back that way while it's running, while it's wet, and you can see them, and that works really well. And if there's still a little bit dripping out, well, that's okay. Unless you totally don't want it there, then you maybe want to put some extra tape on. But that worked very well last year to get rid of any leakers that we had. Okay, so to put these ends on, because we've used this one for more than 1 year, you can see that it got ripped a little bit. And I'm just going to take and fold that over, and with my pocket knife, I'm just going to take and cut that little bit off so that I have a nice clean end. And same thing, it's a compression fitting. Make sure your fitting is, that would be the wrong way to go. You want to go so it comes back here all the way before you put your hose in. Insert that hose nice and tight. Hold it there so that, I like it so that this stays up so that it's easy to, because the blue on the drip tape is supposed to be up. And tighten that compression fitting nice and tight. Okay, and there you have it. Now, the next thing I have to do is to attach this to my main line tubing. And I rearranged my garden again this year. I've got a double row here, so this way down here, way down there is where my old one is, where I had one, and that is, it just isn't going to fit. I want it to be right here at the end of this row. So I'm going to take my purple hole punch right here, and this is going to go kind of on the side of this. I want it to be right there, right in the middle. And use this punch. There. Just a little punch. And then I take this and pop it in. Oh, I do have a little bit of trouble getting these popped in sometimes because my hands aren't the strongest anymore. There. That's hooked to the mainline tubing. And I take my other one and I'll install it right here. But now, what am I going to do with that hole? Well, they provide you an answer for that too. And they're called goof plugs. This bag was out in the rain a little bit, so it's kind of... And these are provided with the row crop kit that I got. And they look like this. They come 10 to a little pack, so I'm just going to separate one of these, and it has a narrow end and a wider end, and the wider end goes in this hole that I no longer want water to come out of. You're just going to go and pop that in, and again, I do have a little bit of trouble doing these just because my hands are not quite what they used to be. Come on. Ah! If I can't get this, I'll just have my husband or my son do it. That's what they're here for, right? Or I could use a pliers, but I don't have one handy right now. There, got it. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's that goof plug. And so far, we've plugged several of them up, and they've all worked just fine. And then the last thing I'm going to do, slide my little tractor seat back here. The last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this pin. These are also provided with the kit. And I'm just going to take and push that pin down in so that this end stays where I want it to. And just like that, my drip tape on that row is ready to go. Just one more left. And then the last thing I'll show you is this. So the water that comes out of your of your hose is fairly high pressure, and drip systems and soaker hoses, they need to be regulated down a little bit so they're not just like ripping through the holes that are created. And so this is a 10 psi pressure regulator, and this will go right over here. Between my connection and my garden hose. And then I just turn on, I've got mine set up so that I can do those 5 rows at a time, or those 5 rows at a time. And with the new turn valves, I can do any specific row on or off, turn 4 of them off, water 1, leave 2 on, 3 off, whatever I want to do. And there you have it, setting up the drip system at Woodbury Farm. See you next time.